Hey everybody, it's me, Zach. This is my dog Potato, and welcome back to our channel. Hey everybody, hi, hello. It's me. How are you doing today? I'm hoping you're doing as well as you can, considered, I don't know, everything. Just everything. And I'm here today with a little bit of a off the cuff. I do have some notes here on my phone, and I got some screenshots, and I'll probably edit in some stuff after I'm done filming. But I just wanted to do a little bit of a follow-up to a conversation that lasted all of like a few minutes at the beginning of my video, my last video, which was reacting to some Chantal clips from some of her latest streams, okay? And at the beginning of that video, if you didn't watch it, I talked fairly extensively, and by extensively, again, it only lasted for a few minutes at the very beginning, and then the majority of the 50-minute long video was just me reacting to whatever Chantal was doing, right? But I did talk about the current atrocities that are going on in the United States, globally, and things that I care a lot about that have me worried in terms of the fascist state that we're going towards full steam ahead at this time when it comes to the ways that ICE is being used to hurt innocent people and murder innocent people and separate families and tear apart our communities. And I still stand on all of that, and I think it's really important. And, you know, I talk about these things because I do care about them, and I don't live in a bubble. I grew up in the middle of nowhere, surrounded mostly by straight white people who look like me and, you know, believed in Christianity and things like that. I don't live in a world like that anymore. I live in a large urban city, one of the largest in the country. I'm surrounded by people who are different than me, who are in my community that don't have similar backgrounds to me. I've had the pleasure of working with students from all over the world at the schools that I've worked at before I became a YouTuber. And I do know many people who are undocumented. I know many people who are just in general immigrants. And even if I didn't know those people, even if I hadn't been impacted in that kind of way by all of the amazing people I've met over time in my nearly 37 years of living, I would still be alarmed and concerned by what was happening here in the United States. You shouldn't need to know somebody to see some of these things happening with our own eyes and our own ears to be alarmed and concerned. Anyways, I feel like I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, and I'm sure some of the people I'm hoping will listen to this have already clicked off, so maybe I need to do some editing in the post-filming part of this to hopefully catch some attention sooner. But what was really alarming to me was not the people who just like are MAGA supporters, who support what ICE is doing, who take issue with me talking about Palestine and the genocide of Palestinians, or the people who even said like, well, if you're gonna talk about those things, why haven't you talked about XYZ PDQ things? Because I'm probably not gonna reach the people who agree with what the Trump administration's doing. And I certainly think most people understand that just because I'm talking about these specific issues doesn't mean that I can't care about other issues outside of that. But what was alarming to me was the number of people who commented things like, well, I'll read some of them here in a second for you, just to get you an idea, but people who are commenting things like, you know, I don't want politics in Gorlworld, I don't come here for politics, I don't do this, I don't do that. And it's interesting to me that so many people seem to think that Gorlworld, topics in Gorlworld, etc., are just this thing that's separate from what's happening in the United States. So I'm gonna read some of these comments that I'm talking about, just so you get an idea of like the people in the comment section that I'm addressing, because I also want to be clear, there were so many people who thanked me for saying something. And again, this is not about me being like a victim or needing praise for doing the bare minimum here. But I would like to open the conversation to consider the ways that actually Gorlworld is very much largely happening within the context of all of these things and why these conversations do matter when it comes to Girl World. Jenny Bop 29 says, it's also totally okay to disagree politically. I can like you even if I don't agree. Girl World is the last place political ideas should matter. Ambiosi says, I like watching you because you don't talk about politics, so hopefully you don't start now because it's a good escape from it all, and we have fun talking about everything else. Nicole W says, wish you kept politics out of your video. The short and curly activist said, Zach, I come here to get away from politics. If you're getting political, I'll move along. Somebody responded to the short and curly activist, and this was one of that person's responses. They said, second, I am aware of his political opinions. I have no problem with that. I came to watch a video about Chantal. If he's being political, he should put it in the title. It's clickbait for political garbage otherwise. And then Brandon HN4YG says, we don't need to hear your personal opinion about things. If you want to spout propaganda, make a channel dedicated to that. So what 9571 says, can we keep this about Chantal? I just want the content, not political signaling. And what's so funny to me about all of those comments is that if they watch the whole video, I don't know if they did or didn't, but if they watch the whole video, we end up talking about the very things that I addressed in the first 4 minutes of the video, because Chantal herself brings up things about ICE and what's happening in the United States. Understood.
If I'm for my thoughts and freedom of speech, I don't care. I'm not bending the knee. So, whatever. My Twitch is almost restored. Go ahead, fucking report me.
Oh, or is that what people were saying they were upset or offended about? Because that's crazy, because y'all know, if you already watched the beginning of this video, my thoughts about ICE and MAGA and things like that. That is one of those things, I think, to some extent, that's like, yeah, I'm gonna stand on that principle. And that's what really got me thinking about how so much of Girl World is related specifically to this issue, but to politics and the identities of marginalized people at large. You want me to keep it to Chantal, and you want to talk about immigration, you want to talk about citizenship, you want to talk about deportation? How many times on this channel have I criticized Chantal for the ways that she talks about feeling like Nader deserves to be deported to another country?
There's no way. Can somebody download it or take a screen recording for me and send it to my email, because that's illegal, and I will go to the cops with that right away, like now. You're going back to Egypt, buddy. Get ready.
She is so nasty when it comes to, like, weaponizing immigration status of people. Like, that is... Listen, Nader's a fucking loser, but it's so nasty. While she sits here and fetishizes Arab men, Middle Eastern men, and then is, like, ready to talk about getting this man deported. And granted, like, fuck him, again, for posting revenge porn. Like, that is fucked up. But it's more a larger conversation about the way that Chantal fetishizes Middle Eastern men and people from immigrant families and things like that. And then it has the audacity to sit over here and, like, talk about getting somebody deported. Sometimes when people are refugees or immigrants in another country, the idea of getting deported back to their country, it's like, there's reasons why they fled those countries, you know? Like, she's just so fucking sick to me. Like, it is crazy. And granted, Nader is an awful human being, but the conversation is around the way that Chantal talks about it, the way that Chantal talks about deportation of immigrants and people who immigrated to Canada, and less to do with things about Nader. Because remember, a lot of language that Chantal uses to talk about Nader is rooted in racism, and just because you don't like somebody doesn't mean you have to say something racist about them.
You look like a fruit fly. Don't you talk about my looks, you're like... Too worn? You look like a fucking giraffe. On crack with AIDS. You look like a fucking giraffe camel with AIDS. Okay? You fucking silkworm fruit fly.
Chantal is a content creator in the past, I don't know, several years that I've been watching her. Since the beginning, She's dated 3 different people. She's had romantic relationships with 3 different people. 2 of those 3 people were immigrants to Canada. And the third one was a person who lived in the Middle East that she moved for. And everybody in this corner of the internet sat in and discussed their citizenship status, the possibilities of him moving to Canada just to get a green card, being in a relationship with her just to get a green card. You don't think that the things that Chantal's involved in are political? Well, this is what happens when marginalized identities like immigration status are used to weaponize political campaigns. And to be clear, these are things that I have talked about on my channel. I don't know when all of these people who commented came to my channel for the first time, if it was yesterday or if it was years ago, but I've actively talked about these things in videos. I just might not have explicitly referred to them as things like politics. And when you're a marginalized person in the United States, unfortunately, oftentimes your marginalized identity becomes a political speaking point for people who really probably don't care one way or the other about you. And to that extent, when it comes to people's identities and things being offensive that people like Chantal, Amberlynn, and Rosie do, then yeah, I will talk about them on my channel. And when you think about Amberlynn specifically, like there's been so many things in her time on her channel that have been related to, the ways that she has been transphobic. She's explicitly talked about politics before. I remember one time I did a whole entire silly ass video reacting to a Bernie Sanders video because Amberlynn was saying that reaction channels should react to something that matters, like Bernie Sanders. And even just as recently as the most recent presidential election, people had all kinds of feelings about Amberlynn and politics because Amberlynn had gone on and on and on and on and on about how she was going to vote for Kamala. She was so excited to vote for Kamala, this, that, the other. And then people were up in arms when Amberlynn didn't make it to the voting booth to vote. She couldn't even figure out how to request an absentee ballot to vote from Wisconsin. So anyways, that brings us to today's reaction, which is a 5-minute and 4-second long video titled, "Why I Didn't Vote in the 2024 presidential election," which honestly I don't think is a surprise or news to anybody. You know, she talked a big talk. Actually, let me just include clips of her leading up to the election time of her talking a big talk about how she was so excited to vote for Kamala Harris, how this was going to be the first time she ever voted in any election, which, mind you, there are elections outside of the presidential election that you should be voting in at the local state levels, but I digress. She was so excited to vote. These are her own words on her own channel.
Yes, this is going to be the first time that I'm voting because I've never voted before. That's literally the first time voting because I've never voted before. Yeah, that makes sense, right? I am voting for... Are you guys ready for it? I'll let you guys guess. I'll let you guys have a little fun with that. I am voting for... Literally, I am so excited. Oh my God, I'm going to cry thinking about it, you guys. You guys, I'm genuinely going to cry. I'm genuinely going to cry when I think about it. Hold on. I'm so glad I get to be alive during this. I'm not trolling. I am voting for, who do you guess? President Harris. Why do I say it like that? Listen, I love her so fucking much. I'm obsessed. I have watched everything lately that she has said. Oh my God, I love. And I'm just so excited to I know, I get it. Everyone has, look at me. I got some arms, folks. I really do. So I'm just really excited, to have a female president. It's going to be a whole moment. I'm going to fucking cry. We're going to vlog the experience and I'm going to cry. And I'm so excited. Harris 2024. Like, and she's so cute too. It's like, okay, who are you voting for? So this is actually going to be the first year that I vote, and I'm voting for Kamala Harris, and I am literally so ecstatic. If she becomes our president, I will be bawling my eyes out. Like, I genuinely love like what she stands for. Obviously, no president will ever be perfect. And I know politics, look at that cutie. I know politics isn't thoroughly something that I really want to talk about on my channel, but I genuinely love her and I support her, and I would love for her to be my president. And you don't have to agree with me. It's totally fine. Everyone can have different opinions on politics without like fighting in the comments. Please, let's just calm down.
It's hard for me to understand this concept that like people are more than happy to sit here and listen to me, well, honestly, talk about anything related to Amberlynn. Talk about the 12,000 times she goes to bingo with her mom, whoever, whatever. But heaven forbid I come and start talking about the real life political things surrounding their content. And if you really want to get current when it comes to Amberlynn, I know I haven't been actively covering all the LOLCow universe nonsense, but you want to talk about a show that has purposely situated itself in this current political climate where it's like edgy and rage baity to say like the most offensive, awful, terrible things. That's the LOLCow universe. We unfortunately live in a world where people make entire livings out of saying rage baity, racist, homophobic, transphobic, problematic ass shit just to get some clicks and views and money. And recently, Amberlynn was on the LOLCow main show, LOLCow Live, and she sat there while Boogie, one of the main hosts of LOLCow Live, sat and rattled off the most racist, white supremacist ass nonsense. He went on and on and on and on and on about one of the co-hosts having a Filipino wife and said some really racist ass shit about it.
100%. My wife's white. He fucking jealous of that too.
What?
I knew I was gonna get you.
Okay.
He's gonna fucking crash out. I'm sorry, I got a white girl to marry me. Is that a problem?
Oh my god.
You're the one who's a self-proclaimed racist from fucking Arkansas. It makes sense that, yes, you went and picked a little white girl off a farm. I married a Filipino Native American because I like variety and quality.
Oh, it'd have been a lot easier to get a foreigner who wanted the green card, trust me.
It'd have been very difficult for you to get a foreigner because you're a racist that lives in Arkansas.
I assure you not. I would have taken the same $200 and put it in the envelope, and then they would mail her to me like they did yours.
Okay, well, I had to wait till mine was 18 to find one, right? And then I had to go get her.
Good or better man of you any day of the week.
Follow
I
him,
hate that
Boogie.
motherfucker.
Follow him, pussy.
Oh, motherfucker. No, you follow him. I will push
I'm not
you
going
off
at
of this
good
show.
luck.
I don't care how many bands Keem sends to try to lock you in. I don't care how many iPhones he makes you buy or how many computers he makes you replace. I know you said on this fucking stream Sunday you were afraid of Keem. You'd be a good OBS monkey. You're scared of him. No, motherfucker. You will choose pissing him off before you will choose fucking staying here. I will goddamn make sure you are so fucking miserable. You would rather have Keem hunt you down on whatever fucking island you fucking hide on. I will make goddamn sure he finds you with his AI fucking drones, and you would rather that than to spend one more goddamn day here with me.
Do you think that rhetoric about this man's Filipino wife is that far away from the rhetoric that is leading to people here in the United States getting deported, to people attacking immigrants, to ICE doing all of this nonsense? Do you think that specific comment lives in a bubble that's like so far and away from what is happening currently in the United States? I don't think so. And we live in a country where white supremacy is on the rise. There are more and more and more and more things that are being said by public leaders and public figures that play into white supremacy. And Amberlynn Reid sat on LOLCow Live and listened to Boogie, whether it was a joke or not, say that he supported the concept and idea of eugenics.
You're disgusting.
This is some type of shit they were thinking in like Germany back in the day. This is like some crazy fucking bullshit you're talking about.
Oh, I'm 100% okay with eugenics. 100%. I know I would have been killed. I know I would have been killed as part of eugenics, but I'm okay with that. It'd be worth it to make to make disease go away. I never understood the problem with eugenics. I don't even really understand. You get fucking disease to go away. You get all this human suffering to go away. I don't understand the problem.
You can't be pro-eugenics.
You don't think that that's a product of the current state of events in the world and the current state of events in the United States? I totally understand that sometimes people need some time away from these things. I mean, I certainly have chosen not to cover certain topics in situations that arise on Amberlynn's channel, on Chantal's channel. I'm not living in a world where, like, you know, I expect that everybody is 100% tuned into these things every day, or that, you know, there's a right way to do it. I'm not trying to belittle anybody or make people feel less than, because I don't have all the answers. I'm not suggesting there's a right or wrong way to do anything, but I think it's more than reasonable for me to spend 2 to 3 minutes at the beginning of a video or the entirety of this video to address things that are genuinely of concern to me when it comes to the world that I'm living in. And if you're only here to hear about Amberlynn and Chantal, then I hope you acknowledge that things about Amberlynn and Chantal involve the things I'm talking about. Amberlynn has sold her soul to a fucking show that profits off of the nastiest problematic behavior. Profits from rhetoric that is not that far away from what America's current leading administration is selling to people to try and justify the atrocities that they're committing. And maybe that feels like a huge leap for some of you, but it's not for me, divas. When I've come on here in the past and I've talked about the ways that Chantal's a bigot, you know, in recent history when I've talked about Amberlynn being transphobic, in recent history where I've talked about, you know, Rosie abandoning her morals, her values, etc. for friendship with Amberlynn, or like not wanting to make somebody upset. I'm not doing those things as like a gotcha moment, okay? Like I'm not here saying those things because I just hate Amberlynn, Chantal, and Rosie so much that I will criticize them for anything. I'm criticizing them for those things because I actually really genuinely do care about those things. One of the first things that I ever had in terms of criticism for Amberlynn was her transphobia and her biphobia specifically. Like, this is core to who I am. And I'm fully aware not everybody will be on the exact same page as me, but I hope you can look at these things with some level of humanity and see where I'm coming from. I don't live in a world where Gorlworld is entirely separate from the way that I live my life offline. Gorlworld isn't an actual planet that exists somewhere in a far-off distant universe away from what is happening here on planet Earth. Chantal lives in Canada, Rosie lives in Florida, and Amberlynn Reed is in Oklahoma City. They're a part of all of this. I don't know. I hope that all makes sense. I hope I got my point across. Again, I'm not really trying to, like, talk down to anybody. I know sometimes when I feel passionate about stuff like this, it's sometimes interpreted that way by people. You know, if people just come away from this, like, having a different perspective on how everything's related to all of the stuff happening in the world around us, then I appreciate that, and that's more than I can ask for. I'm not here to argue with people who are forever and always going to be MAGA and Trump supporters. I'm not here to get into the whataboutisms of maybe all of the different topics that I can't simply cover in one single video. But you know, occasionally we talk about hard stuff over here. You know, I haven't always loved talking about the sexual assault and domestic violence related to the girls. But sometimes I do. Sometimes I do talk about it because there are important conversations worth having. Sometimes I just don't always feel like an expert on any of this stuff, and yet we still show up and we still try to have these conversations. So, I don't know. I hope that makes sense. I hope I've conveyed what I'm trying to say. And keep on fighting the good fight. Keep supporting local organizations in your area that are committed to fighting ICE. I know that looks different everywhere. I'm used to living in Chicago, where there are a lot of groups and organizations that are working to protest the things that are going on with ICE and our government. And you, of course, can go to standwithminnesota.com to find ways that you can support the people of Minnesota as well. That's all I have time for today. Thanks so much for listening to what I had to say and hearing me out about all of this. If you're brand new to my channel, I hope you'll consider subscribing. Certainly a lot of people let me know that they unsubscribed yesterday, and that's their prerogative. That's fine. And also leave me a comment, hit like, click share, and follow me on all my social media. I love you all so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!